Hi, Director Gray.
Good afternoon. Welcome to West Basin Municipal Water District Water Policy and Legislation Committee and special meeting of the Board of Directors for July 15th. It is now 1:01. I call the meeting to order. Mr. General Manager, do we have a quorum?
Madam Chairwoman, I'll read through the roll call. The Director, Don Deere.
Here.
Chairwoman, Gloria Gray.
Here.
Director, Scott Houston. Director, Desi Alvarez. Director, Tommy Favai. Madam Chair, we do not have a quorum of the Board of Directors, though we do have both members of the Water Policy and Legislative Committee, and therefore we are ready to begin.
Thank you very much. Item 3, public comment. Any public comment?
Madam Chair, we have not received any requests for public comment, though this meeting is being held both in person and virtually. If there's any member of the public that would like to speak, please indicate so by raising your virtual hand. Madam Chair, I do not see a request for public comment.
Okay, thank you. Item 4, presentations. Do we have any presentations?
Madam Chair, staff has no formal presentations, though we do have our Manager of Water Policy and Resources Development, Matt Day, with us. Because the Water Policy and Legislative Committee typically revolves around that department, I did want to offer Matt an opportunity to introduce a new member of the West Basin team.
Thank you, EJ, and good afternoon, Chair Gray and Director Deere. I do have a couple folks to introduce here for you. The first here is our new Water Policy and Resources intern, Zoe Bush. If you want to stand up and say hello. So Zoe, we're very blessed to have Zoe with us this year. She just graduated from Occidental College in Pasadena with a bachelor's degree in urban and environmental policy. And she's also a resident in our service area, Culver City. So we're very excited to have Zoe with us. And then also we have one of Metropolitan's high school interns spending the day with us here at the best department in West Basin with water policy. So if you want to stand up, Reese. Reese is here for a couple of weeks with the Metropolitan Workforce Development High School program. So Reese has spent the day with us, and he's learned a lot about water already.
What's Reese's last name?
What's your last name?
My last name is Arcenas.
Arcenas. So
Welcome.
thank you. Thank you, EJ.
And Madam Chair, that concludes the presentation.
Thank you very much. Well, welcome, everyone. Welcome. So to the next item, action item. Would you please introduce the action item, Mr. General Manager?
Yes, Madam Chair. Item 5A is adopt a position on bills related to golden mussels. As you know, Metropolitan Water District has been discussing this matter, as well as our state legislature and basically anybody in the water industry. Golden mussels are a hot topic. We do have 3 bills here for your consideration. So item 5A is to adopt a position on these bills. For the presentation, we do have Matt Bay, our Manager of Water Policy and Resources. And this item begins on packet page 3.
Thank you, EJ. I'm actually going to have Augustine introduce this topic for us.
Thank you, Matt. Chair Gray, Director Deere, item 5A in the package, as you just heard, are the 3 bills related to golden mussels for the board's consideration. As EJ alluded to earlier, back in December, Metropolitan made updates to their annual legislative priorities and principles document and included golden mussels as one of their top priorities. And so we are bringing the 3 bills before the board for consideration for positions. The first one is AB 1772, which we're bringing with the support if amended position. The second bill would be AB 1894, which we're bringing for a full support. And then we'll be bringing AB 2032 for a support if amended position. If we could flip to the slides, please. Next slide. So The board may already be aware, but I'd like to provide just a brief background on golden mussels. Golden mussels were first found in the Delta in October 2024. These invasive species attach to infrastructure in clusters, clogging conveyances, pipes, and pumps. They also spread rapidly, so the current focus is on containment, and also eradication is not currently feasible. Next slide. We can move on to the next slide, please. Yeah, and so just to provide a brief summary of the first bill, to clarify, this is AB 1772, introduced by Assemblymember Diane Pappin on February 9th, and we're bringing this for a support if amended position. And so this bill supports invasive control efforts by establishing statewide standards for monitoring and decontamination activities at recreational reservoirs. This bill is set to be heard August 3rd in Senate Appropriations, and this bill has support on both sides, which you can see listed on the slide. Metropolitan is seeking amendments to provide flexibility to opt into a larger decontamination framework, preserving their ability to implement efforts tailored to specific needs and conditions of their respective water bodies. And so that's the reason why we are bringing that support if amended position. Aqua also has a support if amended position and is working on amendments through a working group of water managers or reservoir managers. Next slide, please. The second bill in the package, which we're bringing for full support, is Assembly Bill 1894, which was introduced by Assemblymember Blanca Rubio back in February. This bill would prohibit imported water deliveries unless a documented health and safety risk for that water from the agencies with state-approved control plans. This bill is on the Senate floor currently, and the real intent behind this bill is to seek to address a local matter where LA County is not allowing imported water deliveries for groundwater recharge in spreading basins in the county. And so that's what this bill is specifically trying to get at. Upper District and San Gabriel Valley Municipal Water District are the co-sponsors of this bill, and is supported by the San Gabriel Valley Water Association, Three Valleys Municipal Water District, and other agencies. Metropolitan took this bill to their board yesterday and adopted a full support position. Aqua also has a favor position on this bill, and so we are bringing this bill with the full support recommendation. And on to the third bill is AB 2032, which was introduced by Assemblymember Ransom. The bill streamlines control measures and research to contain golden mussels. And so this bill is also set to be heard August 3rd in Senate Appropriations. On this bill, Metropolitan is seeking amendments to broaden the bill to include all invasive mussels. That's to also include koala mussels and zebra mussels, which Metropolitan has been dealing with. And so this bill is sponsored, this bill enjoys support amongst the associations. And as I mentioned before, Metropolitan is seeking those amendments, and that's why we're bringing that support if amended position. Next slide, please. Just as far as a benefit to West Basin, imported water supplies from the State Water Project remain a critical component of West Basin supply portfolio. Water agencies and ratepayers should not be responsible for the costs to control these invasive mussels. And just for context, the January budget proposed by Governor Newsom proposed to use $20 million from Proposition 4 to fund 8 new positions to help implement these state approved mussel control plans. And so the support, if amended positions on the 2 bills, would allow staff the opportunity to engage on these bills when it becomes appropriate. And so we'll move on to the next slide to cover the staff recommendation. And so we're recommending that the board adopt a support if amended position on AB 1772, a support position on AB 1894, and a support if amended position on AB 2032. That concludes the presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any.
What is your opinion on this?
No, I stand by altered positions. It's important to note that obviously here we are in July. By the time this is ratified by the board of directors later this month, we still have a little more than a month to be very active up in Sacramento, helping out these organizations and especially Metropolitan Water District. And so these positions align with that and would allow us to utilize BML, Pappas and Associates to really be active representing kind of our region and associations.
Okay, I would support the recommendation.
Right, I'm here. I support it also. Thank you.
So we'll move these three items to the board of directors.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. We support all three. Correct, President Dare?
Yes.
Okay. All right. That was the only action item. So can we go to the presentations, please? And thank you, Augustine, for the presentation.
Yes, Madam Chair, item 6A is our monthly state and federal legislative updates. And for these, we do have Augustine Hahn, our Water Policy and Resources Development Analyst. And this begins on packet page 17.
Thank you, EJ. Members of the committee, I'll direct your attention to the PowerPoint slides that were included as part of the board handouts for the state and federal legislative update. And so we'll get started with the state update. We could go to the next slide, please. So Governor Newsom recently reshuffled several key appointments with an eye towards cementing his water policy priorities during the final years of his administration. And so most notably, he appointed former Cal EPA Secretary Jared Blumenfeld to the State Water Resources Control Board. And this was to fill the position of Laurel Firestone. In addition, Doreen Diadamo was reappointed to the State Water Resources Control Board, where she's been serving since 2013. Next slide, please. Next, we'll move to an update about the budget deal. On June 29th, Governor Newsom signed his final state budget as governor of California. This budget deal included $351 and notably included $25 million for Healthy Rivers and Landscapes, although that's contingent on HRL approval. And then it also included tax revenues from a new tax on software subscription licenses. We've been made aware that this tax, that water agencies are currently not exempt from this tax. So we'll be tracking how that develops before the end of session at the end of August. Could potentially increase costs for agencies like West Basin. And also, importantly, the budget deal left Prop 4 allocations or the climate bond allocations and also the cap and invest or greenhouse gas reduction fund discussions for the end of session. So we should be hearing about those before the end of August. And so next is an update on the legislative session itself. The legislators are currently on summer recess and due to convene August 3rd. Once they return, it will be the annual legislative sprint to pass bill deadlines in the second house before the end of August. Next slide, please. You just took action on the legislative topic of golden mussels this year, but another hot topic has been data centers, which I'm sure you've heard of, and is a topic that the water policy team has been tracking this year. specifically kind of getting at the energy and the water usage associated with data centers. And so two bills in the slide before you relate to the water use of data centers. And both of those bills were introduced by Assemblywoman Diane Pappin, who you heard mentioned earlier. And those two bills are AB 2469 and AB 2619. Both of these bills will also be heard August 3rd at the Senate Appropriations Committee meeting. And so just to provide some background, in March, the Assembly Water Parks and Wildlife Committee held an informational hearing on this topic. And so at that hearing, they covered how the evolution of data centers is kind of unfolding before us. They talk about the increase in prevalence of hyperscale and large scale sites. But they also mentioned that a lot of server facilities are co-located with normal offices and other commercial, industrial, and institutional spaces. The hearing also covered that there's not a lot of data about the water usage associated with these data centers, large CII or commercial, industrial, institutional sites. But that's sometimes because these businesses have trade secrets about what their water usage looks like on their properties for business purposes. In addition, it covered what water agencies are already doing to assess demands. One of those is in the long term, agencies develop urban water management plans. On a project by project basis, they complete water supply assessments before they make new connections. And they are also implementing the Making Conservation a Way of Life regulations, which gets at the CII water usage in part. And so we've done some research in our service area, and we've located 5 data centers within the service area from a state database, and 4 of those are in El Segundo and 1 in Hawthorne. In addition, we heard last week about a proposed project in El Segundo, which eventually was pulled by the developer due to some community concerns. And so these legislative efforts this year seek to require greater transparency on water use, to equip local governments and water suppliers to evaluate water supply impacts and plan for the future. And so, you know, I think, which is an important goal, but this also has to be balanced with California's leadership in emerging technologies with the responsible stewardship of water. So that's it on this topic.
Augustine, if I could just add, I wanted to make note that West Basin recently held 2 education forums within our service area, one of which was in the city of El Segundo and the other, the city of Inglewood, and the other in the city of Carson. And at both events, we were asked questions during the public comment period about data centers. And so we wanted to include this in the presentation today, just to let the board know that we're currently tracking these issues. We're trying to work with our cities to be a part of the solution. It's important to note that West Basin has always been a proponent of local control. The idea or the concepts behind some of these proposed data centers, those are in fact land use decisions that each municipality must contemplate. Where West Basin plays a role as far as these decisions go is assisting our cities as far as the decision making and possibly even the analysis. As Augustine mentioned, all of our cities will have to track kind of their water usage. And so when it comes to an individual project, we can help them analyze that project and the impact to the region and our ability to serve that individual retailer the water supply that's needed for those communities. As far as the city of El Segundo goes, we did contact the city on multiple occasions to see if there was any assistance needed. In this case, as far as last week goes, Augustine mentioned the developer did pull their permit request over the request of the Planning Commission. And so we're going to continue to do that for all of our cities. This is not the end of this matter, this issue. And so we're going to continue to work with all 17 of our cities, and we'll bring regular updates to the committee and board as things progress. And as if we hear of any controversial projects, of course, we'll be notifying the board. So.
Thank you,
Go ahead.
Yes, we'll move on to the next slide to conclude the state update. And that's just an update on priority bills for West Basin. And so you'll see on the slides all the bills that West Basin has a position on this year. And just very briefly, 2 of those bills have died. That's AB 2215 on the state water projects rights extension, also a metropolitan priority. So unfortunately, that bill died. And AB 1893 was a bill to get Prop 4 or climate bond funding for helicopter dip tanks. So unfortunately, those 2 bills are not moving forward. AB 35, which was a climate bond APA exemption to try and get these monies into our communities faster. And SB 935 is the authorization on design build project delivery methods. So those 2 bills have passed and are on the governor's desk. Let's see, we've got a couple other bills that are still due to be taken up in August, and that is SB 872. This is the issue with the state water project and the subsidence, along with the levies. Another one of those bills is SB 2777, which is the water reuse bill on clean water state revolving fund, and AB 2739, which is an affordability bill. All of these bills will be taken up during the month of August. That concludes the state update. I'll just pause here to see if there's any questions.
Hey, Josh, are there any, Director, any questions?
No questions, thank you.
All right, thank you. Can you go on to the next item, please? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Gray. On to the federal update. We could move on to the next slide. Last month, we reported that Aubrey Betancourt was nominated as Reclamation Commissioner by the White House. And yeah, so we provided that update last month. To date, the Senate Energy and Natural Resources Committee has not announced plans for a confirmation hearing. That position needed full Senate confirmation. And so on June 16th, the Interior Secretary Doug Burgum listed Betancourt as the principal deputy commissioner for reclamation, thereby making her the acting secretary. And so Betancourt has taken the reins at reclamation. Next slide, please. And so just a brief update regarding the fiscal year 27 appropriations process. The GOP-led House Appropriations Committee is expected to advance all 12 of its fiscal year 27 spending bills by the end of next week. However, the process on the Senate side has hit the wall. The Senate Appropriations Committee has canceled meetings 2 weeks in a row, and so this process is beginning to peter out. So we'll continue to keep tracking the appropriations process. West Basin does have the earmark request that's attached to the appropriations, and so we'll keep the board updated on that item. Next slide, please. You may recall we reported in May that the Office of Management and Budget proposed rule changes that would put political appointees in charge of approving or scrapping funding awards of federal grants. And so that raised a lot of concerns for us. But on June 30th, the Office of Management and Budget Director, Russ Vaughn, stated that before a House Appropriations Subcommittee that the administration's rule change won't apply to congressional earmark grants. And so national water associations have been expressing concerns and will be engaging on this rule. Next slide, please. Oh, that is the last slide. So yes, this concludes a brief review of the items included in the state and federal report. You can find the full reports as part of your handout, and staff can take any questions the committee may have at this time.
All right, thank you. Any question, Director Deere?
No.
Deere? Okay,
questions.
thank you, Augustine. We'll go to item B.
Yes, Madam Chair. Item 6B is our monthly Metropolitan Water District update. And for the presentation, we have Matt Bay, our Manager of Water Policy and Resources. This item begins on packet page 23.
Thank you, EJ. And good afternoon once again, Chair Gray and Director Deere. We'll skip ahead to the slides, which begin on page 33 of the package. If we could go to that next slide. Thank you so much. So first slide here has to do with one of Metropolitan's kind of ongoing long major projects, what's known as their pre-stressed concrete cylinder pipe rehabilitation program. This program was developed a number of years ago as a comprehensive strategy to enhance long-term reliability of Metropolitan's imported water distribution system. This is a project that they have been implementing for a number of years now. And both of the second lower feeder and Sepulveda feeders run through areas within the West Basin service area. And so as a result, there are occasional impacts to our customer agencies in our system when shutdowns have to occur. And because of that, we are sometimes, in communications with Metropolitan. They do a pretty good job of doing outreach to the communities where these impacts are occurring, but we do try to work with them closely to know about these in advance. So the second lower feeder is nearly 40 miles long overall, with about 29 miles of the pre-stressed concrete making that up. And then of that, there's been a total of 6 what they call reaches or segments, I guess, for a total of 18 miles that have been rehabilitated so far. And then rehabilitation efforts are now also about to occur on the Sepulveda feeder as well. In January of this year, the Metropolitan Board awarded a contract for relining reach number 2. And Metropolitan is now planning for one major PCCP relining project per year to moderate. It's a very expensive project, a very large project. So they're doing that to moderate the need for large increases in the overall CIP program budget, while continuing to manage the risk posed by the aging distribution system. So because of that kind of updated approach, that's going to push the overall completion of this overall program to 2050. So another 24 years. And it will also increase the program cost to approximately $3.5 billion. Next slide, please. All right. So the annual water quality report for Metropolitan, they recently released its annual report, which summarizes the water quality monitoring data for January through December of 2025. Metropolitan's testing results continue to show consistent compliance with all state and federal water quality regulations, which is good news for its member agencies. And then in addition, Metropolitan for many years has entered water tasting competitions, and they've won awards for more than 2 decades now. And in February of this year, they did receive the silver medal for the best tasting municipal drinking water at the 36th annual Berkeley Springs International Water Tasting Competition. Next slide, please. So another program that's kind of near and dear to West Basin is the community partnering program. Metropolitan's partnering program has now been in place for 25 years. So they just are celebrating that this year. It's been a great way for Metropolitan to support local community programs, local events, and educational initiatives that you can kind of see some of those on the slide there. So the program provides funding, nominal funding, but some funding to member agencies to support nonprofit organizations, public agencies, and educational institutions for water-related education programs, such as demonstration gardens, community events, and other activities designed to teach about the importance of water. West Basin has enjoyed a successful track record of implementing some of these community partnering programs in conjunction with our community partners, especially for funding some of the local events in the service area. And it's something that we're pretty much involved with some sort of requests from the community each and every year. Next slide, please. Okay, Sites Reservoir. So this slide shows the overall schedule for the Sites Reservoir project. Sites Reservoir is going to, or it is considered an individual project assessment that will go through Metropolitan's Climate Adaptation Master Plan for water assessments that'll happen later this year. Approval of the Sites Reservoir project would assume that Metropolitan's share would have, would cover 22% of the costs of the project. That's where it kind of currently stands. The Metropolitan Board is expected to consider supporting this project somewhere in late 2026 or early 2027. And then late last month on June 26th, the California Water Commission approved an additional about $270 million for the project. The state's new total eligible investment through the Water Storage Investment Program is about $1.4 billion from Propositions 1 and the new Water Bond Proposition 4. This is something that Governor Newsom has strongly supported during his last couple of terms. And it's something that he's prioritized as he, exits the governorship this year. Earlier on April 17th, the Sites Reservoir Committee and Authority Board approved an exchange agreement between the Sites Project Authority and California Department of Water Resources to govern voluntary exchanges of water between Sites Project and the State Water Project. And while the project is not yet finalized, it does continue to move forward into the next stages of pre-planning, design, and permitting. But obviously what happens later this year, next year at Metropolitan will have a big bearing on that project as well. Next slide, please. So just a quick look ahead at the board agenda. There is a typo there. It should say July 28th, Tuesday, July 28th. Those will be the meetings at the end of this month. Those will include the subcommittee on imported water, Metropolitan's executive committee, and then also a board of directors workshop on engineering operations and technology. And then one last slide here will be the water supply update. So this slide shows Metropolitan has accumulated record amounts of storage. Metropolitan State Water Project supply is currently 574,000 acre feet. Their Colorado River supply is currently estimated at 882,000 acre feet. And Metropolitan is currently operating under a water supply surplus due to the favorable storage conditions. However, Metropolitan's future Colorado River supply may change, will change, more likely based on higher priority water use in California and future federal water management actions. Metropolitan has accumulated record high storage with supplies of 3.9 million acre feet for dry year storage and 750,000 acre feet for emergency storage. But as you've heard at Metropolitan caucus meetings, Colorado River is still experiencing some very unfavorable conditions. There's still a lot of work left to be done in the negotiations with the different states and the federal government. Federal government could step in here soon, later this year. So there's a lot left to kind of be decided and determined for the post-2026 operations of the Colorado River and how that affects Metropolitan and all of its member agencies. So with that concludes my Metropolitan update, and I'd be happy to take any questions from the committee members.
Lori, any questions?
I'm sorry. I don't have any questions, Director Deere. Thank you. Do you have any? If not, then did we complete the presentation?
Yes, I think we have.
That is
Okay.
correct.
Okay.
That concludes
All
6B.
right. Okay, thank you so much. Then we'll go to item 7, closed session. Any closed session?
There are no closed session items.
All right, director's comments, President Deere.
Nothing to add.
All right, well, thank you to Augustine and Matt and everyone who made presentation today. Thank you, Mr. General Manager. And is there anything you'd like to say, Mr. General Manager? Any remarks?
No, just want to say thank you very much to our staff managers who have been working. We've introduced now all of our interns, so you'll start to see all the interns at all the committee meetings as well as board meetings, as we always do. You'll be getting the chance to hear them present through the course of their time at West Basin. And so things are moving forward on that front, and we're excited to have a lot of new faces.
Great. Well, welcome again, interns. So with that, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for being there. Thank you, President Deere. Thank you,
Thank
staff.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, bye.
All the high schoolers eager to.